So we are going to move into our next game. Fiasco is going to be taking over for StarCraft 2 Strategy. Unfortunately, we do not have a bio for Fiasco, but I can tell you that he's a Terran player, so we have a TVP coming up now.
Yep, did you say Bonkers taking over for SCS?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said Bonkers. I said somebody else. My bad.
It is Bonkers, but it is still a
Bonkers.
PVT.
It is a PVT. Oh, we do have a bio for Bonkers. I'm looking in all the wrong places.
It's okay, I'm here to back you up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Bonkers. He's a 17-year-old, and he is from Florida in the United States. His first online game was Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction, skipping right on into the expansion, because why not? Played Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, and started StarCraft Brood War at age 9, but only played custom games. Then he switched to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and then his PS3 broke, probably a blessing, and then got into SC2. Sorry for COD players. I am a jerk. Got placed into Gold, and then his next season he moved into Masters, and he's played over 5,500 games since the Wings of Liberty release. He enjoys running and swimming in his free time, and one of his interesting facts is that he drone rushed into Masters on a Smurf account. I don't know how you do that, frankly.
I don't know how you do. I mean, I've definitely cheesed my way up into, Platinum League, but at that point, the players start to sniff out the cheese a little more. But you can drone rush into Masters.
Good practice on that mic, bro.
Yeah.
That's what you got there.
So before we jump on into game number 4, we do want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Das Keyboard, for providing keyboards for the winning team, as well as swag for players for achievements throughout the season. That's been pretty awesome. I did post in chat a suggestion tweet that you could send to them to send them a big thanks. That would be awesome. They definitely appreciate that and have responded to such tweets in the past, so it does not go unrecognized. So send that thanks out. That will give us a big hand in sending them some appreciation and increasing sponsorship for future seasons, as well as follow on Twitter at Galligation and on Twitter and Facebook at WingnetSC/WingnetSC, SC2CTL, and that will keep you in the know for what's coming up. And the other big news we have is we're going to be doing a live show for the semifinals and finals. It's going to be Sunday, September 22nd. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yep, it's going to be starting at 11:30 Eastern Daylight Time, so definitely put that on your calendar. It's going to be a fun afternoon of StarCraft.
Yeah, we are going to have at least 3 best-of-9 matches for you, assuming that we can get all the teams on board, but it seems like people have been well receptive to it so far, so we will keep you updated on the details as they develop. Obviously, we don't know what teams are going to be there yet, as the playoffs are still going on. This is only the round of 12, and we will be moving into the round of 8 fairly shortly.
Yep, and I think with that, all the bases are covered. Let's move on into game number 4.
Game number 4.
Game resumed.
In the lower right-hand corner of Phoenix Cluster, it is going to be wearing the blue trunks Pulse Esports Abstinence.
And in the top left-hand corner, representing StarCraft 2 Strategy in the green trunks, it is the Protoss player, Bonkers.
So we get to see some Protoss in this game, finally. PVT, an interesting matchup, as they all really are lately, but PVT, one of my favorites at the moment.
And what makes it your favorite?
I'm not going to tell you the truthful answer to that question right now. We'll take that one offline.
Okay.
It's definitely not because it's easy.
Definitely not. No. Why would it be that?
No, but there's definitely some interesting strategies that come out, and it all depends on the scouting, really, as with any matchup. Any strategy is only as good as its secrets. But so far in this match, we're just going to be seeing some workers created. This is it's not the biggest map in the world, but it's also not the smallest, but it is a 2-player map, so there's no secret to where your opponent is. It's easy to scout out the easy cheese locations, so I don't expect anything too shenaniganous to happen.
And so far we do see, fairly standard openings from both players.
Absolutely, and, the common thing we've seen so far is actually Proxy Stargate's been fairly common for Protoss, as well as the in-base expand for Terran. Also we call it the HOTS 111 from Terran with the Widow Mine, Marine, and Medevac early drop. That can be pretty disastrous as well.
We actually haven't seen that in quite a while, though, and I've been interested in seeing it, so I'm hoping that Abstinence will pull that out of his hat. We have seen that from him in the past, and it can be very effective, so I'd like to see what he does with that.
Oh, Bonkers was going to put down a pylon there, but he decided to bring that probe back to make his core here pretty quick. Some a little bit of inefficiency out of Bonkers. He did have 3 probes rallied up on both of his gas for quite a while before they finished, losing a little bit of mining time, but we'll see if that turns into anything as the game goes on.
Bonkers does try and get into the base of Abstinence, however the wall is already up, so he's just going to do some worker harass.
It's going to delay the completion of that supply depot there, which isn't a huge deal for Abstinence yet, but lowers it now to... Oh, he's going to end up losing this SCV.
Oh, he
wasn't
is
able to control that as well as he wanted to.
And Abstinence is in the natural, able to see that there is no base there just yet, so he's going to go forward and try and do some scouting.
2 Reapers
But
going
we
to be...
do see a proxy Twilight Council here.
Ah.
Well, not proxy, but almost hidden.
Yeah. So it's going to be Blink or DTs. We've kind of seen both when you've tried to hide the...
Abstinence is going to scout it.
He sees it. The question is, did he click it? He sees a building being warped in over there, but I mean, if you're scouting in someone's base and you see a building way off in the corner, what do you think it's going to be?
Definitely
gateway?
Something. Maybe. You never know.
Mothership
Mind
core.
games, man.
Mind games, yeah, absolutely. Mothership core in production, a command center also in production for Abstinence. He's going to be taking Expand, knowing that he sees that Twilight. We're assuming he knows that that's a Twilight, so he's not going to be under immediate pressure, but it looks like Blink is going to be coming down for Bonkers.
And that we've seen that be really effective against Terran players. Definitely something to be reckoned with. And these Reapers are now moving in, trying to get as many kills as they can, but that Stalker is right there. So they're not going to be able to get too much done.
And the Reaper's definitely knowing that's going to be Blink, because as he moved in, he saw it being chrono boosted. So he knows exactly what he's up against, and it feels pretty safe in putting down this command center and getting his factory, and I'm assuming starport afterwards. But the big issue for Terran so far has been that Stargate early. Oh, getting 1 probe kill here, but I don't think he's going to be able to get both these. Oh, 1 Reaper does go down.
And that isn't quite the trade that you want, although he was able to get the scouting that he wanted, so I'm sure he's not too disappointed in losing that 1 Reaper.
Nope, absolutely not. But there's a tech lab coming down on the factory here, so it's going to be tanks, I would assume. Choice of that is interesting. We'll see what the tank does end up coming out. And the fact that you don't have to research Siege anymore is a big deal, as right as this Blink push is going to be coming in, he's going to be getting a tank out as long as he can just hold off for another few seconds here. Blink is just finishing up. Oh, the Mothership core is lagging quite a bit behind, so he's not going to be able to blink in right away.
But I'm really liking the positioning of these bunkers here. He's got them spread apart. He's got the Marines ready to get in there. But these 2 Stalkers moving forward and Abstinence ready to engage. He moves his Marines down.
And there's a proxy pylon going in here off to the side, so he'll be able to reinforce with Stalkers, but only 2 so far. And he would have probably ideally wanted that pylon down a bit sooner, as he's going to be low on the Stalker count now as the tank is out.
And again, great positioning on this tank. If the Stalkers move up into those bunkers, then they are not going to be able to avoid those tank hits. Moving that tank forward a little bit to try and get some early shots on those Stalkers, not a bad idea either.
That time warp did cost Abstinence a couple Marines, but that's not a huge loss for him. But he's going to lose a supply depot, and that's a big deal, because now he's supply blocked by 8 food. Luckily for him, though, he did have this tank in production before he lost the supply depot. So he will be having 2 tanks out, which is going to shut this down quite a bit here. Oh, but Bonkers is going to blink in on the backside. There is a bunker here, though, so that's nice play by Abstinence.
Yeah, he is prepared for this. He's going to be able to run those Marines right in there as soon as he sees them, or sees the Stalkers moving in. But, Bonkers is teching out of this. He's getting a robo facility down. He's not really overcommitting. He's only made a few Stalkers to push with this. It's mostly just to try and keep Abstinence in his base and keep him from taking that expansion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea, too, because, I mean, it is holding his economy back, but it's also keeping him from dropping him right now.
That, too.
This is the time when Abstinence would likely want to be doing some kind of drop, but it's giving Bonkers the ability to get his expansion up, get it mining now, and get some tech going. And he's also not losing anything, just standing outside his base.
Nope, he does have a single Stalker back at home just in case any shenaniganery is going on, and just working on that macro. Getting an Immortal out now. which is a great idea given the number of tanks that we're seeing.
Yeah, nice blink there. I don't think he lost the Stalker in that engagement. Did soak up a couple tank shots though, but Abstinence is pretty well defended in the front here. There's some SCVs repairing the tanks as well.
Abstinence making so many units. Marauders, tanks, Marines getting that stim now. And he's just trying to get the right positioning. And Stalkers are going to be taking a few hits. He's trying to get that tank down, but is great blink, but does end up losing one, loses two. And now he's going to lose that Mothership Core. Oh no.
That was definitely not a fruitful engagement for him, losing those Stalkers and the Mothership Core.
So now, Abstinence is breaking out of his base, is going on the offensive position here, and is getting, he's not put down a command center yet. I imagine that he's got the money for it, so I'd imagine that he's going to be putting that down relatively quickly, almost losing, Bonker's almost losing another Stalker there, but good blink.
Abstinence now doing a good job of pushing him away. But now the question is Bonkers going to have enough to defend Abstinence's push? Because this is a pretty meaty push here, even though he does have Blink Stalkers. 3 tanks, and it looks like 20 Marines.
Yeah, he can't afford to lose these Stalkers. He just lost another one. There is a single Immortal, but those Marines are going to chew right through that. Oh, great blink from the behind. Great positioning. Now he's going to be moving through in the attack path, and Abstinence kind of met with a little bit of indecision, not really sure which army to engage with here. And that was just great play by Bonkers.
Bonkers taking advantage of the immobility of tanks. You know, Abstinence can't really get a chance to siege up here because these Stalkers are moving around so much, being so active. But Abstinence looks like he finally says, screw it, I'm going in, and it's probably a good plan because there's not a whole lot here. All the probes are going to be pulled, but it's going to end up taking down the tanks. Oh, those Immortals coming down doing so much damage. Now the Marines left all by themselves. Force fields separate them out. This is going to be an easy cleanup for Bonkers.
Oh, yeah, great positioning there, great tactics. You know, he did lose all those probes, but Abstinence lost his whole army, so...
It's almost like Bonkers was hiding those Immortals at the top of his ramp, just waiting for Abstinence to move up there.
Oh, I think that's exactly what he was doing. And now the Stalkers are moving forward, going to try to get some more damage done. There are 3 that were warped in previously to harass that Natural a little bit, and they are being reinforced. Now there's only 2 tanks and a handful of Marauders, with the remainder of what survived of that army being brought in by that medevac.
Not a lot of force fields here available for these sentries. Well, let's see how he handles this. Looks like 1, possibly 2 force fields available, but man, there's these tanks, but with these Immortals, if they go in, target those tanks, and the Stalkers blink up on them, it could be trouble for Abstinence if he does it properly, but he can't decide what he wants to do right now.
And this is a really, this is a great position for Abstinence. I'm not sure that if I was Bonkers, I'd want to engage here. Oh, but Hallucinated Phoenix does allow the blink, so the Stalkers are going to move into the main, and they're going to get a lot of kills as Abstinence's army is all up front, stimming a few Marauders forward, trying to get into position to kill these Stalkers. One does go down, but more blink micro, and blinking on out. Oh, a little bit I guess those were the blinked back Stalkers that couldn't blink. Oh, great pickup to just reinforce his army as he knew that this was about to engage.
I definitely don't think that went the way Bonkers wanted it to. He lost too many Stalkers in that warp, and what he tried to do is blink up those Stalkers, and then was hoping that Abstinence would unsiege his tanks to move up to defend that, but he didn't, because we saw him move up with the Immortals after the blink-in to try to attempt to take down those tanks, but the tanks were still there, sieged up, the bio was still there, so great hold by Abstinence.
Yeah, Abstinence, knowing that the Marauders were going to be the most effective, selected those and stemmed them up the ramp just to take care of the Stalkers, and that was the right move, as he was able to do a lot of cleanup there.
Now Abstinence is going to be moving a drop on the right side of the map to do some damage back to Bonkers, which is going to be could do quite a bit of damage. He's got a lot of tech here on the right side of his base, so if he can drop in, take out that Twilight, take out that robotics facility, that's no more Colossus for Bonkers for quite a while.
And that is definitely not a good thing for Bonkers at any rate, as there's a huge bioforce here, and he definitely needs those Colossus.
Looks like Abstinence is going to be doing exactly that with this medevac coming in. He's going to drop right on top of this Twilight Council, likely stim and target that right down, and looks like the pylon first.
Does stim to get it down a little bit faster, moving in for another pylon. I don't think he knows about that robotics bay, but now he does as the Colossus moves forward, and that whole group is going to get cleaned up.
Yeah, but that pulled Bonkers back a little bit, so I wonder if his position will be off enough for this force of Abstinence to be able to do anything here. No, he decides to turn back.
And I think that's the right decision with that Colossus on the field. There are no Vikings out, so he doesn't even have a starport, so he's getting a starport now. Or I'm sorry, he does have one, but getting a second one.
I mean, to be honest, I think more scary than the Colossus are those 4 Immortals, because he's got a largely Marauder tank force, and those Immortals will chew that to pieces.
Definitely not the right composition for Abstinence to go up against this army, but Bonkers is just trying to reinforce his position, trying to get the army just quite fine-tuned to his liking before he decides to move in, and frankly, there's not a lot there. It may scare Abstinence away, but it's definitely not enough to push on his position just yet.
There is a pylon down here by the 3rd base Abstinence just put down, and it does have vision of that supply depot, so that could be a big deal if Abstinence decides to move out with a pretty significant warp-in of Zealots, because Abstinence has no idea that that's there.
So now we do see Bonkers moving forward with his 4 Immortals, a Colossus, a smattering of Zealots and Sentries, with Stalkers backing up the rear. But they're going to hit at a giant sieged up front here.
Yeah, this position for Abstinence is impenetrable right now.
Absolutely does get that Phoenix out, Hallucinated Phoenix trying to see what's up there, and Bonkers smartly trying to do the wraparound positioning, and that is going to be pretty effective here.
Yeah, it's going to leave Abstinence in a bit of trouble here. He's going to have to unsiege to do anything about this. Move again, taking out that Manson.
Oh, good force field there, getting the Immortals on the side of the tanks, and is able to take down that orbital command. So he did exactly what he wanted to do, and just goes ahead and returns home.
Yeah, that was a great recall too. I mean, we've seen that play work out both good and bad for players. Sometimes they'll go in and target that command center down and lose half their army in the process, and then this counter swing that Abstinence is doing right now is a problem. But Bonkers didn't really lose a whole lot, and he does have 3 Colossus now, so I mean, this is still going to be trouble as Abstinence is quite high.
But look at Abstinence. All his SCVs are with that army. He is planning on doing a death push here. That he just wants to end the game. He has pulled everything. There's nothing mining. Everything is with that army. So this is all in here, people.
This is called the bomber push, and let's see how it pans out.
Frankly, it's usually pretty effective. And look at this. This is a very imposing army. I mean, it's just scary to look at. And Bonkers is smartly just staying at the top of his ramp, not really sure how to engage this.
I just think he doesn't know what to do. But look at the spread on these siege tanks. Even if he did move in, I mean...
But Bonkers does have some DTs in the mix there, so they are going to be able to kill some units. He is targeting those Marauders right now. I don't know why he's not going for the tanks just yet.
Yeah, Bonkers getting holed up in his base here, just letting all this being taken out to get as many units as he can before he engages.
Oh, Abstinence finally does realize that those DTs are there, does a scan, and kills the majority of them. There is still one taking out some of that bio. So he's going to have to scan again, but, you know, if Bonkers can hold this is game.
Look at the reinforced line for Abstinence as well. He's got a steady line of units coming across, but wait, there is a DT actually in the second of Abstinence, taking out some supply depots and was whacking away at some of the SCVs, so this is going to hold down Abstinence a bit.
Abstinence doing some great hold position, and that DT is targeting the SCVs, so he's not able to get in there, but now Bonkers does pay attention, and look at that, he's just corralling that DT back towards...
Well, these tanks are going to be in big trouble here now as the DT's targeting the tanks, and he's only got 3 tanks left actually, but he is going to end up scanning and taking that out. And now he's going to putting down a turret with his army here. That's a good play.
Definitely a good idea. And he did move some SCVs back home to resume mining, knowing that he was able to take a fortified position here. So now we're seeing the reverse of what we saw early on in the game, which was Bonkers having the sieged position on Abstinence, preventing him from taking the second. Abstinence now moving in, taking that natural down, and saying, Bonkers, you are not leaving your base. I am here, and I'm not going anywhere.
There's a warp prism warping in 2 DTs and 2 Zealots into Abstinence's main base. So Bonkers is just satisfied right now with holding up and just seeing if he can get any damage done on the proxy.
Unfortunately, all the SCVs are back at the natural, and they are being defended by a handful of Marines. So I don't know how much these are going to be able to do to the economy, but to the actual infrastructure now, that is going to take some damage.
Yeah, I mean, Abstinence is just going to keep slow pushing into this base with these Vikings in full range on his tanks. So, I mean, Bonkers really doesn't have much of a choice here. I mean, and with 5 Vikings, you can take out those Colossus so fast as well.
But it is important to note that Bonkers is not mining any minerals at the moment. He's spending minerals, but not able to get any more. And Hallucinated Archon's moving forward to soak up some of that damage as he moves his army in, trying to break this siege. Colossus getting huge damage down on the front line, and Abstinence is trying to pull back, losing so many tanks. And now the stim to move forward, but they're just stimming right into Extended Thermal Lance. That is not a good day for those Marines.
That wasn't a bad push by Bonkers, but he does have one Colossus with now 0 hit points, but only had a very little bit here. But he does have a Templar morphed in here, but that wasn't a bad push by Bonkers, but that's actually going to make Abstinence retreat here, it looks like.
Yeah, he's going to pull out. He doesn't feel comfortable not having the tanks to support him. But now scanning to move forward. That may have been a feign to try and get Bonkers out of correct positioning. Great time warp on that ramp, though. But another Colossus does fall, and again, Bonkers is not mining, so he cannot reinforce his army at all.
Yeah, I think that's what Abstinence has a feeling. I mean, he lost his natural. He's got his main, but wasn't able to push in there. He knows it's going to be mined out because his is mined out, but he is still getting some damage done in Abstinence's base.
He is, but if he's not careful, he's going to lose that warp prism. Those Vikings are microwing. Oh, and he does lose it. And that is going to be a huge detriment to him. As again, every unit is crucial at this phase of the game. I mean, he can remote mine. That's all he can do. He can't build another base.
Yeah, I think that Abstinence is knowing that his opponent is going to be well on his back foot and that he's got this game pretty well locked up, and he's just bringing his army back to make sure these little pokes don't do any significant damage to him. So, I mean, Bonkers is going to be pulling all of his probes. He's going to be doing the reverse that Abstinence did and see if he can get anything done. But, oh, if he gets these Colossus up here too fast, one stim is going to ruin the whole thing.
He does have a high Templar there, though, so he could get a great storm off. He's really got to be careful. That energy is the only energy he's going to have. And there's the storm. Great storm, but he does lose so much. The probes are moving in, and that's GG.
Wow, but I mean, that was a great storm, but he had 6 Vikings there at the end, and you have 2 Colossus. That's, what, I think a 2-shot on the Colossus?
Yeah, there just really was not enough Stalkers there supporting to be able to deal with that. So that is going to be the end of Bonkers. Abstinence is taking his 3rd game in a row. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
So he puts his team up to 3-1, and now we will be moving